Howdy, y'all.
Howdy. Are you making fun of me, bub?
No, my line of reasoning, you always say howdy, and then it made me want to say howdy, but then I needed to say it in a way that sounded different than how you were gonna say it, so I did a thing. I did a bit. Yeah.
Well, today we're talking about Pokemon. It's a Pokemon-filled episode. We're talking about Pokemon Twilight.
Surprise.
Twilight Wings. I wanted to say Twilight Zone. And also the Pokemon of the Year competition. It's going to be a fun episode if you like Pokemon.
It's gonna be a bumpy ride. Strap in.
This is Desk Pop.
Here I am. This episode of Desk Pop, we're talking to literally God.
God, are you there? It's me, Mary.
The Deadpool's iconic catchphrase.
If you don't know it, now you do.
If you don't smoke, now you will.
Hopefully. That's all I ever wanted.
Welcome to Desk Pop. If you don't smoke already, we'll get you to smoke.
We gotta say, this podcast is dope.
So light up your favorite doobie and listen to us, have a conversation.
Jeez.
That's what a podcast is. It's a conversation between two people
who oftentimes talk about Pokemon.
Honestly.
About half of the podcast is Pokemon, and then half of it is other pop culture topics.
Half of it is Pokemon, and the other half is me talking about how much I don't care about Star Wars. And that is like
he doth protest too much.
Yeah, it's like 1/3 of it is me talking about Star Wars, and then at the end claiming I don't like nor care about Star Wars.
Every time you bring a Star Wars segment to like talk about it, you're like, all right, so like
I don't care, but
you're like, also, like, I think this will be the last time we talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
I just have this like one thing to say, and you've done it about 4 times in the past.
Yeah.
After the movie, like, that's what I mean. Like, after the movie has finished, the most recent one.
Yeah, after the movie finished, it was the fucking theme park.
How about we talk about the I think you said one that I was like, no. It was like the script, I think.
I think there was a rejected.
Yeah,
there was the original script leaked, and it wasn't confirmed to be true.
Yeah.
But then artwork came out that confirmed it to be true. And fun fact: the novelization of the movie features the deleted scenes that the artwork is based off of. So,
yeah, I think it was I think it wasn't that. I think it was a script about a potential like something happening after the movie or something. I don't know.
Kylo Ren is trained by like this weird like 10-armed alien thing that looked really neat.
We definitely talked about that on the podcast.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, today
fuck Star Wars.
Fuck Star Wars. We're back to Pokemon.
Yeah.
As we always come back to, we can't leave this relationship. No matter how hard we try.
We just keep packing our things and leaving, but Pokemon's always choruses us back.
Just makes it so hard to say goodbye. But yeah, so the second episode of Pokemon Twilight Wings has just come out last week. I watched both of them last night. They're little 6-minute about segments on YouTube, I think.
I wish I watched them back to back too, but I watched them both when they came out.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't see the first one. You had sent it to me, and I think Aaron had sent it to me, and I mean, you've come to know and understand that if someone recommends something to me, oftentimes I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And then I have no intention of watching it.
During our sound check, I recommended Hancock.
Yeah.
And the moment I was like, oh, you should check it out, I mean, it was like, oh, like, I just damned that movie. Like, you'll never watch that movie now. That
I will say, the thing that I'm closest to watching out of all your recommendations which I feel like I have. Oh, I did see that one movie with Adam Driver.
Yeah, The Dead Don't Die.
And because I was like already on the fence about seeing it.
Yeah.
That's where you can get me. If I'm already thinking about something, then you can. But
I have to subliminally plant something in your mind and then recommend it.
Edward Scissorhands is a very close.
Yeah, that was the very first recommendation I'd ever made.
That's the next one, and then maybe The Joker. Those are kind of like the next two that I might consume, but only based on the fact that Edward Scissorhands is like renowned as like, you know,
I mean, they're both renowned.
A cult classic or whatever, classic. But,
yeah.
The Joker, yeah, I mean, it's the most recently that's had a lot of success.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say it's renowned quite yet. I would, to me, that has to like do with like the length of time and reputation of a film and how it holds up and everything.
Sure.
But I do think it's received accolades, and it was, you know, nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, and I don't know.
It's very weird to see like the Hollywood culture of the whole culture around the Oscars is, oh, it's controlled by a secret group of people, and like Disney buys all the, you know, if any mainstream thing wins, oh, it was rigged, it was you know, whatever. But it seemed like every prominent voice in that space was making fun of the Joker, or was very adamant that it not win things. And then when it won things, I'm just like, so who's controlling these awards then?
Yeah.
If it's not the people who are saying that Joker doesn't need to be that, you know, I didn't understand that. Like, I don't know who's being accused of controlling what now.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, I think it's a group. It's a select group of people that gets to decide those things, which is also inherently stupid.
I think it's like a group of, I think they have like 100 people in the academy.
Sure, yeah.
That are voted in and out or something. I don't know.
I mean,
that's so weird to me.
It's dumb. It's funny because you don't think of awards being as credible when they're like People's Choice Awards or Teen Choice Awards or whatever. You don't think of them being as credible. But that's more of like what people are genuinely
I think the only thing that
interested in.
The only thing that generates buzz is all the celebrities being in one place.
Right.
And for some reason they don't go to the other award shows.
Having it as an event like that makes it a point of interest, but the fact that it's awarded by and to some degree I get it. Not the general public is not always going to be the best judge for certain things. Certain awards, but I do kind of feel like, I don't know, it shouldn't be some what do you call it?
Seems really pretentious.
Yeah, I guess that's it. It's like
they're all awarding themselves.
Scoped out this movie for you that you've never heard of that you might like but it might be too highbrow for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, girl, we get it. You think you're cultured.
Okay, Oscar.
Okay, Oscar. You think you're real cultured, huh? Thanks.
Yeah, they're making movies for the people, so the people must stand with. I don't know. They also don't give out awards, or enough. They don't give enough recognition to people who aren't actors or directors.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I think that's really silly, but whatever. Hashtag Avengers Endgame should have gotten some sort of visual.
Yeah.
Award or adapted screenplay something, but whatever.
And I'm not saying
I'm not
like
raw about it.
I know my position on award show and shows in general is kind of like, oh, they're stupid and they don't matter. But I mean, I will say, like, from the perspective of someone who has worked on projects, it is nice to receive that recognition, and to receive it on that scale is even greater. So I'm not saying that they are worthless, but I think they've created this sort of like, I don't know, self-fulfilling prophecy of like, it's gross to me. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's weird.
But
the last thing I'll say about this, because, you know, the Oscars, you know, that's weird. That's didn't think we'd be talking about that.
Yeah. But like 2 or 3 weeks after they've happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, welcome to Desk Pop.
We're talking about Pokemon Twilight Wings still.
Yeah, this all comes back to Pokemon, I swear. There needs to be an award show or like a segment of the Oscars or whatever that give awards to trailers, because like people see movies because of the trailers, and sometimes there's a trailer that's better than the movie.
Oh,
and I don't
all the time. Yeah.
If a trailer's better than the movie, like sure, like that could mean that the movie's bad, but it can also mean that the trailer was that good.
It could, yeah.
That it got you to see this otherwise bad movie.
Yeah.
And there's no awards off of that, and like I think that's an art. But whatever.
It is. It's interesting too because I've never really thought about trailers. I know that oftentimes production companies will send, at least this is my perception of what happens with trailers. They'll send footage and content to an outside company that will then create the trailer.
That sounds about right.
I think that's what happens.
I don't think the people in charge of the movie make the trailers.
Right, which is funny because when it does end up better, it's like, well, I wish that person could have
I think of Suicide Squad.
That one's like
those trailers
big,
are so good, and
they kind of like I touched on last episode. They kind of did that in Harley Quinn, the latest Harley Quinn movie. I feel like they fulfilled that promise that they made in the Suicide Squad trailers, which is like,
I really want to see that movie.
It's good. I would recommend it. Yeah. Anyway, Pokemon Twilight Wings.
Yep.
Second episode called Training just came out. There was one before this called Letters.
Yeah.
Which we haven't talked about this before, so we can talk about the first episode too.
You'd probably be more of the authority on that because it's been a while since I've watched it.
Sure.
But I would relate these shorts to, they're kind of like the Pixar animated shorts that play before a movie. They kind of tell a closed off story that takes place in, the world of Pokemon. It's
and there was like a sort of Pokemon type anthology series before this.
Yeah, there was Pokemon Origins.
Yeah, that was interesting. I think they're always very successful when they do these. And not to say like I dislike Ash, but I think having a sort of different story is much more entertaining for me as an audience member. Watching Ash do stuff is not very exciting anymore.
Well, Ash is
I don't know.
Ash does things that you do in the game, but what's cool about like Detective Pikachu, the movie, and like these animated shorts is that it kind of gives you this raw like look at everyday life
of the
in that
world. Yeah.
It's like
new perspectives, just everything. It's
like,
neat.
Hospitals exist, and there's like a kid in a hospital, and he's like watching these battles on TV because like when you're not a trainer, this is like Pokemon battles it's like a sport. You're just watching it on. He has a favorite trainer, and that's really cool. And in the sequel or in the second episode, they're like just watching how they get around like their taxi services and like they also use just regular smartphones to like talk to people and stuff like.
It is neat.
Looks like
I
that
will
is
say
cool.
that they fleshed out the idea more from the game of the flying taxis, which I like because I'm like, okay, this is how they practically would work. Like, it's not just some like, some animation. It's like the Corviknight will land on this box that has like kind of a perch on top, and then it'll carry it around, which is interesting. It's neat.
I love it. It's just seeing practical things like that and just people living in that world is so interesting to me. It's it's why I like Avatar. It's not the movie itself, but it's the promise of the little world that they're all in. But Pokemon is like way more fun because there's way more lore that you only see in these shorts.
But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll get to start talking. I'll give a brief synopsis of the first one and we can chat about it.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch it, go pause now, watch them. They're 6 minutes long.
It's free. It's on YouTube.
It's free. You can just watch them real quick. If not, I mean, our synopsis, it'll still be fun to watch after. So, but the first one, it opens up. There's a boy in a hospital. It's not quite explicitly clear why. He just is like an ill child, I guess.
Yeah, some people are just... I'm not going to say that. Some people are just born to get sick,
Jeez.
Damn. Even in Pokemon.
But no, yeah, so that's interesting because that's a perspective we've never seen from that world, that people can get sick, especially with like fucking Pokemon magic that can, like, there's Pokemon that are healers innately, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, he's watching a match, his friend comes in, they're watching Leon fight B, which is actually kind of interesting because that'll tie into the second episode. So that's already interesting because after the second episode, it's confirmed that these are all sort of connected, a connected story. It's not just little anthology things that have no interaction. But, you know, the kids at the hospital, they're watching the game. It's awesome. Guess who's visiting today? It's Chairman Rose, which is interesting, too. You never beat Sword and Shield, right?
No.
So Chairman Rose ends up kind of being the villain. So really? It's a weird thing to see him like be still a hero. I don't know. He's not evil, but he's kind of driven mad. I don't know. It's weird. Sure. But
I'm gonna beat Pokemon soon.
You'll have to beat it before the expansion.
Yeah. I will. Yeah. That.
You got June.
That's my deadline. Yeah. I need to have it beaten by. Beat the shit out of Pokemon.
Beat the shit. And that's what Leon does to Bee. He beats the shit out of her in like 10 seconds flat. I mean, his Charizard just destroys her Machamp.
Didn't stand a fucking chance.
So anyway, the kids are watching that. They're like, "Yeah, Leon, you're the best." Chairman Rose is coming. This kid's like, "What? I didn't know." And then everyone else is like, "We told you. We told you."
Me.
And so his friend is like, "I'm gonna go meet him. Like, come on, you gotta let him know." He's like, "My dream is to go to a match with Leon live. I gotta let him know." And his friend's like, "Okay, we'll tell him." And then he's like, "No, I have to do it in a letter." And his friend's like, "Why?" He's like, "It has to be a letter."
he spends like a while, like this really detailed animated thing of him drawing a picture.
And it like cuts to like what's happening with Chairman Rose and the other kids, and he's like, "All right, well that's great. I'll see y'all later." He autographs their T-shirts. Do you remember that part?
I think
he autographs them, but it's like their shirts, and it's like in a really weird spot, like on the bottom. Like, why would you want your shirt autographed? Whatever.
The people wanted weirder things. I think shirts kind of make sense, you know.
I guess, but it's like, it's funny to see that scene play out. But anyway, Chairman Rose is like, "All right, later, sick kids. I was just here for like..."
Later, sick kids.
I think it's implied that he was there for a while, but because they only show one scene, it makes you feel like it was a really short amount of time.
It's like, hello, goodbye.
Yeah. And so him and his assistant are leaving. And it's a really cool scene. They show him, you know, they're going back to the top, the helipad where the Corviknight is sitting there with the flying taxi. And
God, that's so fucking cool.
They're going through the elevator, and the kid's like, his friend's like, "He left. You gotta go." Like, he's going to the top, the helipad. And he's like, "Oh,
there's only one elevator in this hospital, and the only other way is a flight of stairs."
So he runs up the stairs by himself.
All by himself. And fights his sickness.
He has a moment where he like falls down, and he's like, you could tell he's very ill and like shouldn't be doing this. He makes it to the top. Chairman Rose, which this was the strange part to me. The Corviknight does something weird. Chairman Rose looks back at the helipad and notices the boy.
The air taxi takes off, and it is like on its way by the time this kid gets to the roof.
It's gone. He
took
a long time up the stairs.
just mentioning that. So it is like he's in transit now.
Yes. And somehow the Corviknight makes this weird like ruckus, and the chairman looks back, like somehow that signaled him to look back, and the kid is like sadly standing there with his letter on top of the helipad. So he's like, "Well, fuck, I guess." Yeah, the kid's like,
"I gotta go kill this kid."
The kid's like, "Well, fuck, I missed him. Like, that was my only chance. I'm gonna die tomorrow, probably. Who knows?" And he's like having this existential crisis. You can see it in his eyes. And like 2 seconds later, the Corviknight, like, you see the feathers fall, and the Corviknight like swoops in and drops the taxi. And, you know, Chairman Rose gets out, and he's like, "I didn't see you earlier." And the kid's like, "Yeah, I was writing this." Or I don't know what he says, but the letter gets blown over.
I like how you started to make up dialogue. You just get into role play. Put your own OC in there.
Oh, I forgot to mention the boy falls over again. He's ill still.
he's still sick.
And the Corviknight, who it was previously explained earlier, does not like strangers, swoops over and like stops him from falling, like provides him like a cushion, which is interesting.
Pokemon are all friends.
Yeah, but it's like it's one of those things where it's like it's what I got from that scene was like, oh, the Corviknight doesn't like people, and like he went and saved that boy, and like that must mean the boy's special in some way. Like that's kind of what I got from that.
Sure.
But so and because it's reinforced when the driver, like the trainer of the Corviknight, I guess, is like, what? And that's kind of all he says, but he has like a, what's going on? Like, what? Why would he do that? He doesn't like strangers, you know. And the letter gets blown over that the kid drew to Chairman Rose. Rose is like, oh, great. Like, you know, I don't remember if he opens it then or if he gets in the taxi and he looks at it or whatever. Yeah. But that's kind of it. That's it. So I think it's implied that we haven't seen the last of that little boy. I think that'll be my prediction.
No, someone's going to be reading his obituary in a paper in like episode 3.
Well, I think my prediction is that at the end of this series, that he will be one of the final people we see like in the stands or something. I think that'll be like one of the closing shots of the series.
That would be nice.
That's just my prediction. Second episode, we open up. This one's more fresh in your mind, so if you want to take over, you can.
Sure. So, what's the name of the gym leader who got fucking wrecked?
It's B.
By Leon. B. So, B gets fucking destroyed by Leon. She's one of those people who can't just fucking lose in Pokemon.
No, she's a fighting type gym leader. She's got moxie.
She's like the Shadow the Hedgehog, like, oh, I lost. I have to train until I am able to best you in the future.
Even though she gets hurt, you know.
Yeah, so she's fucking pissed. She takes an air taxi to the desert in the middle of a sandstorm, and the pilot's like, are you sure you should?
Tough.
Are you sure you want me to land here? And she's like, yeah. And I think she jumps out of the air taxi. The air taxi does not land.
It's not very high.
She jumps out, super edgy, super badass and cool. She lands, and it shows a brief shot of her phone falling out of her pocket.
She set it down. So after she got off the phone with Chairman Rose, she called him and was like, hey, I'm not going to be at the gym. I got to go train. And so after he cuts to them, and then she puts her phone down in the seat and jumps out.
Yeah, so she leaves her phone on the air taxi, not intentionally. She's accidentally left it. She throws her Pokeballs out, and Machamp, Machoke, and Machop all show up. The gang's all here, and they just start training in the desert. Cuts to like a Rocky type training montage of all of them training in the various elements. They're rock climbing, they're sparring with each other. I think there's a scene where it's like raining and they're all like training in the rain. Just a montage of them training hardcore. There's a shot of all of them briefly resting. B gets up and is like, all right, let's get back to training. And Machoke is like, yeah, my dude, like,
yeah, let's do it.
Like, I fucking can't. I'm tired. And Machamp is like, yeah, like, I don't really want to. So they're all tired. She forces them all to train. It's kind of weird for a second. And then finally, she's physically incapable of training anymore. Her body is just badly hurt.
Well, it shows a scene of her fighting, like Machamp and her fight.
Yeah.
Like, she's going toe to toe with a Machamp, and he just whacks her. Like, I mean, she just goes out. I'm like,
she's like, yeah, hit me.
Yeah.
And Machamp is like, what? Are you fucking kidding? Like, I don't want. She's like, fucking hit me.
Yeah.
And then he fucking does, man. Yeah. But, so they're all in a cave. She's physically incapable of training anymore. She's like, all right, I think like we're done. Wind blows the fire out, I think. There's some weird avalanche, and the cave that they're all resting in collapses in. They are now trapped in the cave.
Yeah.
However, she can't call for help because she realizes she does not have her smartphone. Mm-hmm. So, I think they all manage to get themselves out of the cave through their grit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she first has to find strength to get out of the cave by going further in deeper into the cave and seeing all the glowing like gemstones and everything.
Yeah.
And that's what gives her the power to allow her Pokemon to help. That's kind of it.
Yeah. She goes down in this
Her
cave.
three
and she sees
very
this, like,
strong Pokemon, like they're like very like Machamp, Machoke, and Machop are very strong muscle Pokemon.
Yeah. I never understood the idea of the female versions of those three. Like, they look. There's like no distinct difference
it's
visually.
a Generation 1 oversight kind of thing. It's like one of those like Mr. Mime being female kind of thing. It's like
it's like Mr. Mime.
It's weird. It's like okay.
Anyways,
and it's also just like looks odd.
It's strange. So she ends
Give
up...
him a champ boobs. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Give him a bra.
Give him some... Yeah.
Give her a bra. Or him.
Or them.
Or them.
You know, it's men, women, or children. The three genders.
The three genders, yeah.
But using their grit and their training, they end up getting out of the cave. They do a little bit of walking, and then the air taxi shows back up. And he's like, how did you get here? You left your phone and we went back looking for you. Ah.
Which I will say to that, why were you looking for her there then? Like,
why were you looking for her for that long?
But
like a whole storm came and went, and...
But also, like, he acts as if it's strange that she's in the spot that she's at. But why would you think to then look for her in the spot that if you thought it was strange? Like, why would you spend time looking here?
You could have just been passing through.
But he says he was looking for her. Like, it just, like...
I don't know. So, Air Taxi shows up, gives her a phone, and she's refreshed and ready to give Leon another go, I think. But one thing I don't understand is you have 3 Pokemon. One is each form of Machamp. It's, you know, first evolution, or first one, second evolution, and then final evolution.
Yes.
Does she not intend on evolving the other 2? Or will they all evolve and then she'll have 3 Machamps? Or will she swap them out?
So, you don't have her in your game. I think she's a Sword exclusive.
Yeah, I have the...
you have the Ghost Alistair guy. So, it's interesting because she has a Machamp as, like, her Dynamax Pokemon. Yeah. Like, it's her, like, main one. But... she doesn't have the other 2. Like, she has like a Surfetched and a Pangoro and a Hitmontop, I think.
It's really interesting how they didn't have... I guess Surfetched is a Galarian Pokemon.
Yeah. But... it's very interesting. I feel like they deliberately chose to have those 3 stages of that Pokemon.
Yeah.
For some reason. And I think it was to give different kind of points of view and different reactions to what she was doing. So you have like the fully evolved Machamp who's like trying to keep up with her. He's probably been with her the longest. He knows how she is. You have the Machamp who's doing that. Machoke is kind of like, he's been with her long enough that he's like, great, like I can't stop her. Like, he kind of has like a, you know, whatever, kind of like, I don't know what to do about this. Like, she's going to do what she wants anyway. And then you have Machop, who's like, hey, like, everything's going to be great. Have this energy bar. Like, let me help you. And she's like, I don't accept help from people or Pokemon.
I don't accept help from Pokemon.
But it's like, they all 3 have very different, like, feelings. And I think if they had 3 Machamps, it would have been harder to, like, differentiate them and make...
Oh, I'm not saying... I'm just saying that just in lore, what is the purpose of her having one of each evolution? And
I think she's trying to evolve all of them.
My final thing was like, oh, well, maybe she doesn't use the same Machamp, because it's unreal. Like, the level of people the number of people who challenge a gym leader is so much that, you know, that can't be the only Machamp she uses.
Maybe, yeah.
She can't just battle the same Machamp all day against thousands of people. Yeah. So maybe she's gonna farm Machamps, and that's what she's doing.
She's breeding them.
Yeah, that was the answer in my head for that. But I really liked that one. I think that I liked that one a bit more than the hospital, because the hospital put us in a building, and this other one is like, oh, we're out in the world now. We're out.
You're out in the world.
Running around and...
Yeah. this protagonist of this episode is someone that, at least in my game, that I'm more familiar with already. The little boy,
Little sick boy.
maybe he's somewhere in the game, but I don't remember him.
I doubt it. I think
Yeah, he might just be
the...
But I mean, B is in the game, and then I think it's interesting too that they tied her in with the reason she went out to train is because she lost to Leon in the previous episode, and so.
I just love seeing the air taxis going around and like her being on her phone and even her like engaging Machamp in hand-to-hand combat, like training. She is training with this Machamp. Is really cool. And I'm a huge Rocky fan. And it really struck me as like a fantasy version of Rocky of like, oh, like she's, running around in the sandstorm.
Rocky.
Yeah, it's like Rocky. It's like Rocky with Pokemon, Can we do Rocky D&D?
High fantasy Rocky roleplay.
Yeah, it can be. I can go distance. I'm going to roll a 3 to cut me. All right. Nice.
My passive Eye of the Tiger makes it so that I crit every... Yeah, I definitely think... I mean, we have... In the intro of the Twilight Wings, it shows, like, Nessa, the water gym leader. It shows... I think his name is it Milo, the grass gym leader? There's Alistair, the ghost. It shows different gym leaders. So... I have a feeling we'll see them all in an episode.
I hope it's not dedicated one each, but
you don't think
so?
I think it might. I think they're short enough that it might be.
I think it'd be cool to have them play a role in some of them, or see at least one of them in all of them.
Yeah.
Or I mean, we see all the gym leaders by the end of the series, but I kind of like the idea of like it focusing on just Joe Schmo on the street. Walking around. Maybe it'd be cool to see like what the world is like from a reporter's perspective of just like, oh, I want to interview these gym leaders after a match or a game commentator or something. That'd be neat. But I don't know.
But I mean, I think next episode will be about Hop, your favorite person.
I fucking hate him.
Just because it's
so bad.
He's teased in the intro and in the like kind of outro of this one. He's teased. So I have a feing we'll see him next episode.
I love when Nintendo does these animated things.
This is a really unexpected, cool thing. Just because it's just on YouTube, which is interesting. Maybe it's somewhere else, but
they've done 3 animated series before, not including Pokemon, on YouTube for free. They did like several episodes of Kid Icarus.
Oh, interesting.
Before the 3DS game came out, and it's like full-fledged anime.
Yeah.
It's really good. And then they did the same thing. There were CGI, like 5 minutes each Pikmin shorts, and they made like 3 or 4 of those. And Miyamoto directed them, and everyone thought that it was like him practicing directing film so he could make a movie, and then that never happened. And then the third one was before Star Fox Zero came out, there was a pilot episode for a Star Fox anime, and it was really good. Like, they're all great. So, did you not see the... have you seen any of those?
No, I haven't.
They're all on YouTube. They're like 5 minutes each, but if you like Twilight Wings, I'm really trying to backtrack so it doesn't come across as a recommendation.
I'm curious.
It's good, though.
I will say that because they're shorter things, I'm more inclined to watch.
I definitely think that you'd like the Kid Icarus one.
Probably.
That seems like something that you would enjoy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and Star Fox is like, God, the Star Fox one was so good. Like, these need to be Netflix shows. But...
So, Andy.
Yeah. Cue the game show music. Dun, 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 dun.
When this episode airs, we will officially know the Pokemon of the Year.
Yeah, just to be nominated is
it's a very prestigious award.
Yeah.
Voted on by the Academy of Pokemon trainers.
The third evolutions are the only ones that are allowed to vote.
I mean, honestly, that's how I feel. But yeah, this is an interesting thing. I touched on it briefly last episode. Nintendo partnered with Google, it looks like, created this kind of Pokemon of the Year competition. So everyone's voting. we'll see, I guess, who. It's really just It's a nicer way to say most popular Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope that there's variation between. I assume this will be a tradition that now, depending on how this goes, continues every year, because I think it's kind of cute and fun. And I hope that it's not always just Charizard and Pikachu. That's my hope for this thing.
Okay.
Will that be true? I don't know. But yeah, I can tell you who I voted for. I can disclose that information. I think I might have already.
Oh, do you have your I voted sticker?
I have my I voted sticker. It has a big Pokeball in the center. I voted for Gudra, and you last episode were.
Oh yeah, I was very surprised.
You were surprised that I didn't vote for Dunsparce, and I will say, I feel like Gudra has a much better chance, and I also feel as if Dunsparce is just not everyone's cup of tea, and I understand that, and he's mine.
I saw such a large. I mean, I know nothing.
He has a large following.
Gudra.
I don't think Dunsparce has the. Gudra is a pseudo legendary, and that gives him enough credibility by himself that people love him.
Okay.
Dunsparce is not really like someone you can use in the game viably. It's more of just like a fun design and like just really cute and like has potential.
That GIF.
Yeah, where he just flies away. Yeah,
just flying away.
I love that he can fly.
That's him finding out you didn't vote for him.
Yeah,
leaves.
Well, it's more so the fact that he's mine and not anyone else can have him. So
there you go. So he can't be the favorite Pokemon.
I can't.
He can never know his true value.
He can know it to me, but I can't have him become so popular that he's too big for me. Anyway, what do you think? Have you voted on this? Have you voted?
I keep meaning to, and I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of torn because I think Gengar has been receiving a lot of love and a lot of Pokemon media.
Definitely. He will be a top contender for sure.
He's always been like an original favorite of mine.
Yeah.
I really like Alakazam.
I think I will say that's also why I voted for Gudra, because he's more of a newer Pokemon design, and I think that should be rewarded rather than Charizard, Pikachu, like what you're saying, Gengar. Like,
all my favorite, and it really sucks to say this, but all the ones that I would vote for would all be first generation Pokemon.
Sure, yeah. You Gen 1er.
If I had to pick a Pokemon not from that generation, I'd probably pick Turtwig. I'm really...
Even knowing that casting your vote on a first stage Pokemon is...
It's what Turtwig represents. Turtwig represents the first steps in your journey in Sinnoh. And I think Torterra is less iconic to me, because when I think of Diamond, I think of me picking my Turtwig, and it could be a Torterra, but when I look at it, I still see the Turtwig I started with.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Or Alolan Executor. That is a masterpiece design, and that should be rewarded. Yeah. So I'll let you know who I end up voting for next time when it's no longer relevant.
Yeah, after we announce the results a week after it's been announced.
Yeah. I'd vote for Gengar. I think
who
Gengar
do you think will
has
win? I think it'll be Charizard.
I think it's going to be Charizard. It's definitely going to be either a first generation starter or Eevee. I don't think Pikachu's going to get it.
Interesting. I think Pikachu just by himself.
Pikachu's too mainstream.
But I think you're overestimating who's voting on this. It's open to everyone.
Yeah.
And I think anyone that has been on Google, I think this has been recommended probably to more people than you would imagine. And I still think
people would pick the starter that they chose in Pokemon and not Pikachu.
Maybe, but I think that there's maybe like a slice of people that are voting that are not as invested in Pokemon, maybe that don't play the games, or like that just watch the anime, or like, whatever, that might... Pikachu will automatically, being the mascot of a game, automatically gives you certain amount of votes. You know, that's the
I just
way
don't
it
think
is.
it'll definitely be in like the top 5 or 3, but
I mean, Pikachu is shown, I think, on the. It says Pokemon of the Year, and I think Pikachu is like at the top. Like that subconsciously alone is worth a lot of votes.
I still don't think Pikachu's gonna get it. I think it's going to be a first generation starter. I'm sorry. It's gonna be Blastoise or Charizard. People aren't gonna. I don't think Venusaur is the favorite. Venusaur is like the Aquaman of Pokemon. Like for some reason, it's in vogue to make fun of it. For some reason,
he has a cult following, and I think it's interesting because there are certain like polls and like Facebook stuff that I'll see where Bulbasaur beats out the other two. But I think it's solely to make a point. It's not like people all really love Bulbasaur. I do think there are more people than you would imagine that like him. But I have a feeling that people go out of their way to be like, I've got to do this because I've got to make sure.
It's like a retaliation
Yeah.
thing. Like people make fun of Bulbasaur so much that I have to overcompensate my appreciation for it. So it like naturally balances everything out. But yeah, I think it's going to be like Blastoise, Charizard. I
don't think it'll be Blastoise.
I think Blastoise has a better shot than like a lot of the others though. I think like if it's a starter from first generation, you have a great shot. If you're a starter from first generation, you have an even better shot. And if your name starts with Mew and ends with 2, you have a really great shot. I cannot see any other generation.
I think you're overestimating. When I think of favorite Pokemon, like people telling me their favorite Pokemon, Lucario, Charizard, Mewtwo. Like those are the 3.
So you have to be playable in Smash Brothers.
That's just they are so popular. They are in Smash Brothers. I would argue. They are just fan favorites that were then so popular that they were picked to be put in Smash Brothers. You know, just and I feel like those are the 3 that I repeatedly hear are people's favorites. And
I could imagine a world where Lucario wins.
Yeah.
But I doubt, like,
I don't think he has the momentum right now to win.
I really think it's going to be, like, no matter what, I think it's going to be a first-generation Pokemon.
Interesting.
I think people are, like, Pokemon Go, like, the resurgence of, like, any new piece of Pokemon media.
Well, I think use that Pokemon Go, though, has up to generation, like, 4 right now, or maybe 5.
Well, yeah, but
I think it has up to 5.
The biggest surge of like people playing it was the first, so that just like re-solidified those same Pokemon and like all of the like I'll say like normie perspectives, and those are the people who are probably be voting the most on it.
The Muggles.
And they all kind of dipped away from Pokemon Go, and then they added more Pokemon. So like. Well, you know, everyone who's hardcore about it.
I think there's still a very large following of people. I don't think it's necessarily
people who are
winning.
Maybe.
No, there's not a world where Blaziken wins against Charizard. There's not.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like I'm just.
Well, you're saying it might win.
Well, I'm saying that
there's not a world where it beats Charizard, Lucario, or Mewtwo. I guarantee. And Gengar too. I will say Gengar is another one that a lot of people really like.
It's definitely going to be first generation, but I'm saying that if I'm going to make that compromise and like really open my mind to other generations, I really think if it's going to be a starter.
I almost voted for.
Do you type in the Pokemon and it shows up, or is there a list that you have to?
There's
click?
A giant list.
Okay.
It's divided up. Which
does the different forms count, like Alolan, blah blah blah?
I believe so. If I remember correctly, I believe yes, because you'll sort it into generations, and then it'll show you the list of all the Pokemon. It was not the easiest to navigate through. So, I mean, to your credit, not even just people liking starters, but I mean, just them being in the first part of the voting area, I mean, that may be beneficial to them.
And Chandelure, like I would vote for Chandelure.
Yeah,
it wouldn't win. Yeah, but I would vote for that. Yeah,
I think it's interesting because I don't necessarily know of a Sword and Shield Pokemon that has such popularity. I almost voted for Zacian, the sword dog. He's Fairy Steel. He has a great typing. He's so useful in the game. He's probably one of my favorite Galarian Pokemon, Zacian. And I think it's an interesting concept, the sword and the shield, and, you know, them being fairy type or him being fairy type is cool. But I don't know. I almost voted for him. I think I also felt dirty voting for a legendary, so I didn't. I will never be one of those people. And I've said it on the podcast, and I'll say it again. If your favorite's a legendary,
you don't count as a
you're
person.
Garbage.
You're not a person.
Like, yeah, of course they're fucking cool. Like, they're fucking the most powerful ones. Like, go fuck yourself. I don't know. Anyway.
They're self-labeled as legendary.
Yeah, just, I don't know. I think a legendary has equal shot of getting it as a generation.
But didn't you say Gudra is a legendary?
No, Gudra is a pseudo legendary.
Oh, pseudo legendary.
So
that's where the line is.
Well, there's a clear difference because it's you can breed it, you can find it in the game.
What does Latios and Latias count as? Is that a legendary or is that a pseudo?
They're not pseudo. They're either legendary or they're mythical.
That was the same generation as Rayquaza, correct?
And Jirachi. So Jirachi was the mythical one from that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they count as a mythical one or but they're similar to like the legendary dogs, I would say, in the first or the second game.
Yeah.
Gold and Silver. So I would say they're probably legendary. Yeah.
I think if you have a movie based off of that character, then you count as a legendary. So like Latios and Latias got their own movie, Pokemon Forever.
I think so, for the most part
Jirachi got one, Deoxys got one,
Lucario got one.
I think Lucario is a legendary though.
He's not.
Because in lore of the game,
he's not legendary.
In the lore of the game, there's only one Lucario, right?
That's not necessarily how it works. That's one of the ways that you can tell legendary. I mean, for the most part, legendaries, it has to do with their stats as well. They have to have a certain threshold of stats. They have to not be breedable, which Lucari's for the most part. They have to not be breedable. There's other things. Lucario doesn't quite hit all those notes.
To be fair, the movie's called Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. So
Lucario comes first.
Lucario's using Mew as like
he's riding the coattails of Mew.
You know.
I think too,
he's the opener for Mew.
It has a lot to do with their Pokedex placement is very intentional. Lucario, I don't remember his placement, but it's not at the end. It's not like with the legendaries of that generation. And that's another way pseudo legendaries are. They have higher stats than a normal Pokemon, lower stats than a legendary Pokemon. So they're very viable in competitive play, for the most part. And they are always situated in the Pokedex right before the legendaries start. So that's another distinction. But yeah, there's just normal Pokemon, there's pseudo legendary, there's mythical, and there's legendary. Yes. They're proper categories. You have to be selected by the Academy in order to be nominated for those categories.
Can we please all start an uprising and get Voltorb, the top slot, please? Yes. Voltorb needs to be cheap and be like, oh, everyone needs to vote for Ditto.
It's interesting.
Everybody gets what they want.
Everyone gets what they want. I think it's funny too, because if this vote had happened at any other point, like if it had happened right during the Twitch plays Pokemon, it would have been Omanite. Like, you know what I mean? It depends when this happens, this vote, and what has preceded it. My thought was okay, Sword and Shield just happened. It might have some sway, but I don't know.
I think nostalgia controls. So. I think Pokemon does a really good job at not Sonic the Hedgehog really plays into nostalgia. They bring classic Sonic back and they really remind people of the old games to
If
draw
you're
people
about to
in.
say Pokemon doesn't play off nostalgia.
But Pokemon does a really good job at like they do just enough nostalgia to draw like those people back in, but they also do a good job at adding new things to keep like
they do
people who are hardcore fans like here are a bunch of new Pokemon, a new generation, and a new concept for you to grasp onto. And here's fucking Galarian Charizard for fucking.
But that's the thing.
Guys.
So I feel like it's not even Galarian Charizard. It's just Charizard with the Dynamax form. But Charizard being the only Gen 1 starter in the game, when prior to this vote, before Pokemon Home, that's big. Him being the Pokemon of the champion Leon is big. I mean, I will say, like, I know I'm talking about this like this is like a football game, but it's for people that are younger, like younger kids, that holds a lot of power, and not just like the nostalgia of like Charizard, when they played it when they were a kid, but they're kids now and they see like the coolest person in the game has a Charizard, like that holds a lot of power. I know Charizard's popular without that, but I don't know. I think Charizard's got it. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I was gonna say that at the end, like the audience for Pokemon, I feel like is primarily driven by nostalgia. Like everybody has their favorite generation, and it's usually like the first generation they played like when they were a kid. And like the latest like generation of kids, like their favorite is like Sword and Shield probably because it's like their first,
Maybe, yeah.
So yeah, I think definitely gonna be first generation, and I could totally see Charizard getting it. Charizard or Mewtwo.
Yeah.
I'd like to see somebody. I'd like to see a Sinnoh Pokemon.
I'd prefer a Pokemon that's not first generation get it. But
same.
I almost feel like
I just think the number of people like
it seems like such a bad way to do it, like to just have all of the Pokemon listed.
They've done this before too, and I think it was a big meme because Love Disc got no votes at all out of everybody, and it was like a big joke because everyone hated that Pokemon.
Well, it's like
not one vote.
It's not. There's some designs that are just they're not great, and I mean, if it like
that generation had a huge influx of water type too, right?
Well, and it just, I mean, that Pokemon it doesn't evolve. It doesn't have great stats. There's not a lot of redeeming quality. So if you don't inherently like it, then there's nothing that's gonna make you like it. And it's also just not useful in other ways. Like it's not something that helps someone else evolve, or it evolves into something cool, or I don't know. It's strange to me that they've added, and it kind of makes me frustrated. I'll tell you.
Okay.
I don't remember if it's Generation 5 or Generation 5 added, or 6 added Buffalant, which looks like it should evolve from Tauros, but doesn't. So now you have two Pokemon that look similar. They're not forms of each other. They're two separate Pokemon that don't evolve, and are kind of occupying the same space, but for what reason? Like really no reason, but they look so similar. There's the same thing that happens with Love Disc, and I want to say is it Alohomora or something? There's a Pokemon that's like Love Disc shaped.
That was a spell in Harry Potter they used to unlock locks.
Oh, is it? There's
Alohomora.
There's what's it called? Let me look it up real quick.
Okay. Well, once we look that up, we should wrap this up.
Okay.
He's looking it up right now. You can play some music here.
I had to remember how to spell Love Disc. Oh, sorry, my bad. It's Alomomola.
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 Can I see a picture of it?
But it's like,
oh yeah,
it's like, why does this not?
How is that not?
Why does this not evolve from Love Disc? Why?
Yeah, that definitely appears to be
like just make it an evolution. Then it'll have better stats. people will be like, oh great, like Love Disc is actually like something I could
Some
like,
sort of relevance.
and this has a little bit more of like a character design to it. Love Disc is just a heart with a beak. That's a fish. I don't know. Alola Momola. How many votes do you think Alola Momola will get?
2.
2 votes for Alola Momola. Are you gonna vote twice for Alola Momola?
I just think of like some of my favorite designs, and man, like I'd also like to see Bellsprout win. Oh,
Bellsprout.
I love Bellsprout. Bellsprout's so good.
You would, you Gen 1er.
Yeah, you know, I think of Pokemon designs, and for some reason I can only think of Gen 1, but Luxray is also really good. It's like, if I'm not picking Gen 1, I'm picking Sinnoh.
Yeah, I know you are.
Yeah, that's like, that's the
I'm
rule.
either...
I don't make the rules.
My favorites all come from Generation 2, Generation 6, and now we're on 7. This is 7 Sword and Shield.
I've been going out of my way to say Sinnoh because I'm not even comfortable.
That's 4.
Okay.
So we got, okay, let's go in order. Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, the black and white place. I don't know what it's called.
Oh, Unova?
Unova, yeah. Then you got...
Or is
Unova's 5.
Okay.
And then you got 6, which is the France place.
Yeah, how do I not know that one? I think that also starts with the U.
You might be right.
Are you sure that's not Unova? That one might be Unova, and the one before is based off of New York, and I don't remember what that one was.
No, I think Unova is 5. 6 is... I don't know. And then, yeah, I think we're on...
Oh, Lumiere? Lu... It starts with an L, maybe. Lumiere is... Lumiese?
I think you might be right.
It's like a French thing, maybe. I
think that might be a city in it. I don't think that's the actual...
continent.
But anyway, then you've got... Okay, so we're on 8 now, because 7 is Alola. And then now we have Galar.
I gotta look this up.
So... My favorites come from probably the last 3 and then Generation 2. So Generation 2, 6, 7, and 8 are my favorite Pokemon. You're looking up the generation.
Yeah. It's a very rare occurrence on Deskpop.
I know you're looking something up.
I'm the one. Looks like the shoe's on the other table.
Yep.
Which is turned.
The only thing fake about me is this leg.
What?
If you know, you know.
It's all about who you know.
So.
Yeah, black and white. Oh, wait, we weren't even looking at black and white. Black and white was Unova.
Yeah, I know that for sure. After you said it, that made sense.
How do I remember that one? Kalos.
Kalos, that's it. Yeah, that's the France one.
Yeah, so they're all there. The gang's all here.
Gang's all here. We will hopefully, the day it comes out, I will post a photo of the
winner
Pokemon that won.
Just in case you guys didn't already find out.
Keep up with the latest breaking news.
Yeah, we'll do it on Deskpop.
Here first.
Yeah.
My inside contacts at Nintendo and Google have given me the analytics, and I can see every person who's voted.
And then would it be Nintoogle or Gunendo?
I think
Gugendo.
I was really into Nintoogle until you said Gunendo.
No, it'd be Gugendo.
Gugendo, I think, is good. Yeah.
Gugendo or Nintoodle.
I think Gugendo wins.
I don't know. I think Nintoodle's a pretty good one. Nintoogle.
Anyway, so we'll post the winner. Yeah. How long have we been going?
We've been going for an hour.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay.
All right.
Well.
Also, Batman has a weird chest. Goodbye.
Yeah, Batman. That was our other talking point, but whatever.
Yeah.
Batman is silly. Batman's kind of silly.
We could save it for next week if we don't have anything.
Sure.
All right. I'll edit all this out.
Can we? No, we can't keep this in.
No.
This is a behind the scenes look. These fucking idiots will eat up whatever we say. Doesn't even fucking matter. They just mindlessly listen. Okay.
All right.
Pop quiz. If you are listening, you know the answer to this question. Anyways, okay. Bye.
Goodbye, and we'll see you next week when the Pokemon of the Year is unveiled.